Greetings, one and all. Welcome to NHL Ideas, the show where I discuss certain ideas that could be implemented within the NHL or the hockey world as a whole. Now, today's topic is shortening the regular season. Should the NHL shorten the regular season? Now, the NHL season lasts the majority of the year, or the majority of the calendar year anyway, with its current 82 game per franchise schedule, usually about 4 or 5 games a week for a team, or maybe 3 if you're lucky. Now, with the arrival of the new Las Vegas Golden Knights, we could talk about that name again, but we won't. With the new Las Vegas Golden Knights, would it make sense to reduce the number of games played for each team? Now, it's interesting because there's 82 games in a season for each team. Most players don't even play all 82 games in a season, as injuries or sustaining a healthy body for that length of time in such a high tempo and high energy sport that is ice hockey is difficult to do. It's incredibly difficult to sustain a healthy body and stay injury free for an entire season. I mean, people do it. Some people like Andrew Cogliano go like 5 seasons or whatever without sustaining an injury, which is impressive, or without missing a game. That's amazing. But for the majority of players in the league, they don't play all the games in the season. Now, I have a recommendation. I personally don't think the season should be shortened, but I have a recommendation just in case Mr. Bettman over there is thinking about it. My recommendation is to reduce the number of games in a season to 60 per team. That way, each team plays every other team twice, once at home and once away. They usually do that in the league already, but then they add more games against divisional opponents, which, I mean, I can understand why they're doing it. I completely understand it. But at the same time, why don't we just do it? You play each team twice, once at home, once away. There are 31 teams, so therefore you have to play 30 other teams, times that by 2 to add the away games in. A 60-game schedule. 60 games. I don't think that's bad at all. That's taking 22 games out of the regular schedule. Now, I get what you're saying here, folks. Give me a moment. Whilst die-hard hockey fans, such as myself, shudder at this idea, I don't want the regular season to be changed in the amount of games. I quite like it how it is with an 82-game season. Just take a minute to think about it, though, guys. I will explain something here. You can agree or disagree. That's what this whole thing is for. Now, say if the schedule was reduced to 60 games. Less games means less time for players to prove themselves or dominate the league, meaning every game means that little bit more. I mean, like 22% more than it would have done usually, maybe something like that. Now, more players will hopefully play less games with ongoing injuries and prioritise recovery over the sort of hockey honour sense they have, that I can't let my team down, I can't let my fan base down, I can't let the franchise down by taking a game off when I've only got a little bit of an injury. This might give people more of a chance with 22 less games. That's 22 less games to play. 22 less games, there's a chance of players getting injured. It only takes 1 game to injure somebody, folks. Now, less games means less statistical chance of injury, and hopefully the high tempo that is ice hockey and is the NHL will be sustained. Fatigue within the league will drop as there's 22 less games to play, about a quarter of the season less to play, meaning more intense and interesting hockey to watch. I think that is potentially what could happen. If you take out 22 games of the season, that's roughly a quarter, as we said. That's a large chunk of the season being taken out. Therefore, in those games, you don't get those potential for 44 points in the league. It'll be very difficult for teams to break over 100 points, but it's not impossible. Teams could play very well, and because they won't be playing 22 more games, you could spread out the schedule more, give the players more rest between games, potentially, and that means that the high tempo that you want from ice hockey is sustained. Sure, it's sustained at the moment with an 82-game schedule, but it's very difficult to come by a game nowadays where one of the players on the lineup isn't injured. There will always be one player that's either got a day-to-day injury, they're on injured reserve, there's a problem. Because they're having to keep this high intensity in this sport for 82 games in the season, which is absolutely crazy. To ask people to do that for 82 games is a tall ask. But Old Man Rush, they're getting paid millions of dollars to be able to do this. No, I completely agree. The franchise should get their money's worth. But I think also at the same time, 60 games is a nice amount of time. It makes sense because you have the 1 game at home, 1 game away. Makes perfect sense. I think this would make more sense personally. I think having that sort of schedule match would make sense. I think 82 games, I'd love to keep the 82 game schedule, and I have a feeling we're going to keep the 82 game schedule. But bring in the new Las Vegas team coming in next season, that's another 82 games that has to be played. by the rest of the league. So that's adding at least 2 games in for every single other franchise, potentially. It may go up to an 84-game schedule, or they may have to reduce the amount of divisional games played. Whereas you want to play against divisional opponents, because they're the people you're trying to beat to get to the playoffs. So it's a very interesting topic. I want to know what you guys think. So yes, what do you think, guys? Do you think a shortened season would make sense in today's very fast, very quick, very talented group of ice hockey players in the league? So yes, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Do feel free to leave your opinion in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. But please feel free to like, subscribe, share, watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.